What we need is not more medications, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria, every Monday on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. Hello and welcome to Exposé with Tony Akinyemi today, this beautiful Monday evening, brought to you by TSF, the Shepherd's Flock International Church. I'm your regular host. My name is still Tony Akinyemi. We're talking about your food and your health, with particular emphasis on cancer-fighting foods. Last week, you could see how I almost became enraged when I was talking about the myth that people talk about when they advise their patients not to eat or to eat whatever they like when they are dealing with cancer. Now, I must say today as an opening statement that good nourishment is a crucial weapon in the fight against cancer and indeed any illness for that matter. Good cancer nutrition can be vital in increasing a person's odds of survival. There was a report that was released in 2012, about 12 years ago, by the American Cancer Society that stated that there was overwhelming evidence, and I'm quoting the American Cancer Society, that there was overwhelming evidence that diet and exercise could increase survival and even prevent a cancer recurrence. Overwhelming evidence. So I'm still surprised then why some doctors will simply tell their patients to eat whatever they like when they are dealing with cancer. Now, so the key in a cancer-fighting diet is to eat a combination of foods that will exert many of the very wonderful effects that I highlighted last week, okay, while avoiding foods that feed cancer or promote inflammation or promote disease in the body. So the equation has two sides, okay? One side is to avoid things that can fuel the cancer, and the other side is to eat those foods that can support your fight against cancer. And one of the things that you need to address when you're dealing with cancer is inflammation, because it's a contributing factor in most degenerative diseases, including cancer. So never allow hyperinflammation in your body. Combat inflammation, particularly with your diet. And how do you combat it? Two things. One, avoid or at least minimize foods that promote inflammation. And the second one is to eat foods that are anti-inflammation or anti-inflammation. So what are the foods to avoid that can promote inflammation? As a cancer patient, and indeed most other persons, avoid refined sugar, avoid soft drinks, avoid artificial sweeteners, avoid common cooking oils that are high in omega-6. Avoid tilapia because it's also high in omega-6. I already mentioned that in a previous episode. And omega-6 is an inflammation-promoting oil. Omega-3 is an anti-inflammatory oil. Also avoid trans fats from fried food, from margarine, from lard, from shortening, and as much as possible avoid fast foods. Of course, there are some fast foods that are okay to eat, but some of them that are loaded with refined sugar, with all kinds of seasonings and flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate, you need to avoid them. Avoid some dairy products that are loaded with hormones. animals that have been injected with all kinds of hormones to boost their milk production. Avoid processed meats by all means, and feedlot meats. Okay, like processed meats include things like corned beef, like bacon, like sausage, like hot dog, like ham. Avoid highly refined grains, and by all means avoid MSG. And then you begin to consume foods that are anti-inflammatory in nature. I'm speaking North American English now, anti-inflammatory. In Nigeria, we say anti-inflammatory foods, okay? Teas and foods that will reduce inflammation in your body. You can eat fruits like cherries. Cherries are very good to fight inflammation. Sweet potatoes have anti-inflammatory properties. Kale, one of the cruciferous vegetables I mentioned earlier, has anti-inflammatory property. Green tea has anti-inflammatory property. And then you use anti-inflammatory spices and supplements in your cooking, all right? Like omega-3 fatty acids, such as fish oil, flaxseed oil. There is a particular plant-based oil that is very good, which I highly recommend. It's called Udo's Perfected Oil Blend. It's a Canadian product. It's actually formulated by Dr. Erasmus, Udo Erasmus. I actually visited him in his home in 2023 when I was in Canada. I visited him in BC, in British Columbia. Okay, in BC, yeah. He formulated that oil. It's called Udo's Perfected Oil Blend, and it's all over the world. It's even available in Nigeria. By the way, Dr. Udo Erasmus visited Nigeria, I think that was in 2010, October 2010, if I'm not mistaken, and he was actually on our platform to share some, healthy living nuggets with us. He took about 2 or 3 seminars with on our platform to help people understand the place of oil. And he wrote a very fantastic book, which I recommend that you read. It's called Fats That Heal and Fats That Kill by Dr. Udo Erasmus. You'll find it on Amazon.com. You can order a copy and read it for yourself. It tells you the wonderful health benefits of the right kind of oils and the dangers of the wrong kind of oils. Dr. Udo Erasmus is a PhD holder, by the way, and he's an authority, one of the #1 best, authorities on oils and fats in the world today, alive today. And so omega-3 oils like fish oil, flaxseed oil, Udo's Perfected Oil Blend, which is available in capsule and in liquid, krill oil, hemp seed oil. I already talked about hemp seed in a previous episode. Cod liver oil. All of these are omega-3 fatty acids, and they are anti-inflammatory. Then ginger, turmeric, all of these also help in fighting inflammation. Now, let me begin to go into individual foods and phytochemical substances that those who are fighting cancer, either for prevention or for those who are dealing with cancer and treating cancer, can engage in or indulge in. Number 1 is to eat foods that are high in carotenoids. Carotenoids. Of course, by that, you already can tell one of the foods high in carotenoids, and that is the vegetable carrot. Carrot is high in carotenoids, okay? Any food that is orange in color or yellow in color very likely is rich in carotenoids, carrots being the most popular among them. So those who are fighting cancer should engage in a lot of carrots. Again, incidentally, carrot happens to be one of the foods I already mentioned at the beginning of this series on your food and your health. Then peppers. Either it is a habanero pepper, which we call atarodo in Nigeria, western part of Nigeria, or bell peppers. Bell peppers come in different colors, green, yellow, orange, like that, red. Peppers, and then all greens. All of these are foods that are rich in carotenoids. They are cancer-fighting foods. Again, let me reiterate, eating them is not sufficient to treat cancer for those who have been diagnosed. You need professional healthcare professionals to treat you if you are dealing with cancer. Don't sit at home eating these foods and think that you are treating your cancer. No. What I'm saying is that whatever treatment you're undergoing, also add these foods and they will help you to get better results, okay, out of your treatment. The second category of cancer-fighting foods are seeds. Again, I've done a lot of teaching on that in the previous episode. Flax seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, sesame seeds, apricot seeds. Apricot seeds, by the way, contain amygdalin, otherwise known as lateral or vitamin B17, which actually helps in fighting cancer. Some people say, oh no, it's toxic, it's poisonous. I have eaten a lot of apricot seeds for donkey years and I'm still here talking to you. Okay, so I can tell you from experience, I know that apricot seeds are one of those cancer-fighting foods. And then we have nuts. Nuts. Walnuts. Again, I have talked about walnuts extensively. Then coconuts. Then cashew nuts. And Brazil nuts. Almonds. All of these are also, they are loaded with phytonutrients that can help somebody who is fighting cancer. And then we have medicinal mushrooms, such as reishi, otherwise known as Ganoderma. Okay? Then we have shiitake. We have maitake. We have cordyceps. So Ganoderma, otherwise known as reishi, and then shiitake, maitake, cordyceps. So many different kinds of medicinal mushrooms. We have turkey tail. We have lion's mane. I mean, you name them. So many different types of mushrooms with very good benefits. Now, it's not only for those who are dealing with cancer. Every one of us, even healthy people, should consume these foods because they also help to prevent diseases. And then we have root vegetables. Again, carrots come into this category. Then we have things like garlic that has anti-inflammatory property, antioxidant property, antimicrobial property, anti-tumoral property. Then ginger, which helps in fighting nausea and vomiting. When people are taking chemotherapy, they feel nauseous, they vomit, okay? Ginger can help to temper that feeling of nausea. Ginger also contains a substance known as gingerol. Now, it contains substances that have anti-inflammatory property, anti-metastatic property. It doesn't allow cancer to easily spread around the body. Gingerols in ginger have been shown to have effects against prostate cancer, breast cancer, leukemia, and other cancer cells. And then under root vegetables, we have things like beetroots. Again, I've talked about beetroot in the previous episode. I'm just grouping them together to help you know what they do, particularly in helping to support cancer treatment. Beetroots also have anti-tumoral effect. Beetroots also have blood cleansing effect. Beetroot also help with digestion because of the betaine that it contains. And then beetroot also helps in building blood because when people are fighting cancer, their PCV tends to drop. Because you see, particularly those who are taking chemotherapy. Chemotherapy drugs are targeted at cells that multiply rapidly, that replicate rapidly. So whether they are cancer cells or not cancer cells, as long as those cells multiply rapidly, chemotherapy drugs will target them and destroy them. Because cancer cells are cells that replicate very rapidly, multiply rapidly. So they target them. But unfortunately, there are other cells in the body that also multiply rapidly, like the hair on our head. The cells of our hair also, if I scrape my hair now, in 1 week, it will grow out because hair multiplies and grows very rapidly. Now, the mucosa, the lining of our digestive tract also contains cells that multiply rapidly. Our fingernails, okay, also have cells that multiply rapidly. So when people are taking chemotherapy, the chemotherapy drug will be attacking the cancer cells because they multiply rapidly. It will also be attacking the hair. That's why all the hair will begin to fall off from those who are taking chemotherapy. It will also be attacking their fingernails. You see the fingernails becoming darker, okay? It even attacks the skin. It makes the skin to become dry and scaly because cytotoxic drugs or chemotherapeutic agents are designed to target cells that multiply rapidly, okay? Now, so you find out that when you take beetroot, it helps you to replenish your red blood cells, because incidentally, your blood cells are also among those cells that multiply rapidly. And so when people are taking chemotherapy, you see their blood volume dropping, their packed cell volume, PCV, begins to drop, hemoglobin begins to drop. And so when you take beetroot, particularly beetroot juice, you're actually building back your blood. All right. So we're going to go on a short break right now. And when we come back, we will have more on foods that fight cancer, or cancer-fighting foods. Don't go away. I'll be back shortly.
Take a second to think. If you could design your future, what would it look like? If you could design a tomorrow where you are no longer stuck, drained, overlooked, what would that feel like? Your ability to raise the lid of your leadership, to go from chaos to clarity, to bring tomorrow to life, is multiplied when you are equipped. The Global Leadership Summit is where leaders gather to learn more from each other, to build accountability, to be equipped to handle the leadership challenges of tomorrow. It's more than an event. It's a community where greatness is forged. Take a second, then take a step that equips you to design your tomorrow. Register for the Global Leadership Summit today.
Welcome back. This is still Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. In this season, we are talking about your food and your health. And today, we are looking at cancer-fighting foods. And we have looked at 5 different groups of foods that can contribute to a better treatment outcome when those who are fighting cancer eat them more. So I'm going to go to number 6 on our list for today, and that is fresh organic fruits that can serve to fight cancer or support cancer treatment. Again, I want to underscore the fact that these food items I'm listing are not intended as a standalone treatment for cancer. No, no, no. They are supposed to be added. Whatever treatment you are undergoing, consume more of these foods while you are undergoing your cancer treatment so they can help your treatment outcome, your success rate in beating that cancer hands down. Okay, so number 6 is fresh organic fruits, such as berries, apples, tropical fruits, and so on. Now, I will come back in subsequent episodes to really emphasize on berries. And I'll talk about many different types of berries out there and the health benefits that each of them can provide for us. But today, let me talk about tomatoes. Now, according to Harvard research, 7 to 10 helpings a week of tomatoes will cut prostate symptoms by 40%. This is by research done by Harvard University. That's 7 to 10 helpings per week of tomatoes will cut prostate symptoms by 40% and has an influence on many other cancers for that matter, such as lung cancer, colon cancer, cervical cancer, and even breast cancer. And there was a particular man who is approaching 70 who was in my office earlier this year. And he went for his annual medical checkup and brought all the results so that I could help with areas where there are imbalances. And I looked at his PSA. His PSA was less than 1. The man is almost 70. And his PSA was less than 1. So I asked him, what have you been doing that made your PSA so good? He said, well, I don't miss my tomatoes. I take tomato juice, I take tomato fruit, I slice my tomato into my salad, into my food, into my rice, into my beans. Everything I eat, I must include tomato every day. He said, my doctor asked me the same question. And I told him the same thing, that, well, the only thing I know that I'm doing that could have or may have contributed to this good PSA at almost 70 is that I eat tomato every day. And he said his doctor didn't agree with him that tomato could be that helpful. But here is a Harvard study that actually confirmed that. Now, the substance in tomato that exerts that beneficial effect is what makes tomato red, ripe tomato to be red. And that substance is called lycopene. It is the prime active ingredient in tomato, okay? And about 25 to 40 milligrams of lycopene is the desired daily dose to exert some beneficial effect, particularly on prostate health. Now, lycopene is also found in most other red fruits, such as strawberries, red peppers, carrots, watermelon, and peaches, okay? And lycopene is also a very strong antioxidant. The seventh group of foods that help as cancer-fighting foods are green leafy vegetables, particularly sprouts. Now, sprouts are seeds that are just germinating, germinating. And you can actually have a sprouter in your kitchen and buy sprouting seeds so that you can just put the seed in your sprouter and grow. I hope they can show you a sprouter with seeds that are just freshly germinating. You can harvest the germinating food, depending on the type of seed that you're germinating, that you're sprouting. Some of them are ready in 5 days, some are ready in 1 week, some in 2 weeks, okay? Depending on the type of seed. Now, broccoli sprouts in particular are very, very potent anti-cancer sprouts. Now, you can eat them in various ways. You can add sprouts to your vegetable salad as one of the ingredients. You can blend sprouts into your smoothie, okay, as one of the ingredients. And you can also do sauteing or stir fry with other vegetables, with mushrooms, with celery, with carrots, and so on and so forth, and just saute it or stir fry it, in olive oil or coconut oil, and that helps you to get the most benefit from them. Now, along with avocado pear, beans, apricots, carrots, and pumpkins. Now, green vegetables also give folic acid or folate, okay? If our gut bacteria are strong, we get a lot of benefits from that. And this helps our DNA to replicate properly and protects it from radiotherapy damage. People who are undergoing radiotherapy treatment, when they take green leafy vegetables, it helps them a lot. Now, I've heard many cancer patients tell me that they have been told not to take folic acid because they are undergoing cancer treatment, particularly chemotherapy. And I try to read, studies all over the place. And all the studies I read, recent studies, says that folate in green leafy vegetables is very helpful. It's not contraindicated at all. Folate, I'm not talking about folic acid. I'm talking about the folate you get, which is the full complement of that vitamin that you get from your green vegetables. Now, those who are saying they don't want to take folic acid, they don't want to take it because they are treating cancer, as long as you are eating green leafy vegetables, you are getting folate. You can't run away from it. Ewedu is high in folate. All greens are high in folate, and you do need it. 400 micrograms of folate is the recommended amount. Now, folate, biotin, choline, inositol, niacin, which is vitamin B3, vitamin B12, all of them are B vitamins that actually help in the cancer fight. Niacin, vitamin B3, has been shown to actually kill cancer cells. Now, greens and whole grains are the best sources of these water-soluble vitamins. And then number 8 category of cancer-fighting foods are cruciferous vegetables, which I also have dealt with in the past in this season on Exposé, like Brussels sprouts, like broccoli, like cauliflower, like kale, like cabbage, like turnip. All of these are cruciferous vegetables. They are high in indole-3-carbinol, which is particularly very good for those dealing with breast cancer. They are high in sulforaphane, which is also very good, including those who are dealing with breast cancer. So cruciferous vegetables, they constitute another group of food to support those undergoing cancer treatment. Those are the kind of foods you should be eating. And then number 9 category are pulses. Pulses. These are beans, like lentils, like chickpeas, like regular beans, black-eyed beans, red beans, whatever type of beans, like peas, like kidney beans, okay? Pulses, all these types of beans, they contain a substance known as isoflavones. Isoflavones. Now, pulses also possess antioxidant properties, hormone balancing properties, and they are a great source of protein to help those who need to gain weight in particular, in order to prevent cachexia, which is wasting. People who are just wasting away and becoming a bag of bones and becoming skeleton, a bag of skeleton. You need pulses to help to build up your weight. The 10th category of cancer-fighting foods are good oils and fats, like extra virgin olive oil. When you hear the word extra virgin, it means that that oil is cold pressed, it's not extracted with heat, and it's not extracted with chemicals. That is what makes it extra virgin. All right? So extra virgin oil, olive oil, extra virgin coconut oil, and then fish oil that has been molecularly distilled so they don't have mercury in them. Then flaxseed oil from organic flax seeds, nuts and seed oils. All of these are important in helping to reduce inflammation, okay? And then many of the nutrients that you actually get from your food are fat soluble. So oils help to enhance their absorption so you can derive the benefits that they confer. The 11th group of cancer-fighting foods are broths and soups. Broth, like bone broth, vegetable broth, raw potassium broth. Now, I think I've given the recipe for making vegetable broth and bone broth in some of my previous episodes, so I'm not going to revisit it here again, but you can go and learn more about how to make broth, particularly vegetable broth. It's like what we call pepper soup in Nigeria. But this time around, you are using vegetables, you are using leek, you are using onions, you are using garlic, you are using, potatoes and different kinds of things, and then you are cooking it, and you are just taking out the solid and drinking the broth, like the liquid out of that. You can also do bone broth and drink the liquid, all right? They are also very good in supporting the body. Now, raw potassium broth is also very good. Now, you can mix carrot juice with celery juice, with spinach juice, with parsley juice in a ratio of maybe 5 to 2 to 2 to 1. 5, 2 to 1. Okay, that is a lot of carrot juice, and then celery juice is the next in quantity. Spinach juice and parsley, because it's a herb and very strong, is the least. You mix them. Now, that helps in reducing excessive acidity in the stomach. All right? And then the 12th category are herbs, spices, grasses, and fermented foods. These are also very good in fighting cancer. When I say grasses, should we be eating grass? Yeah, there are certain grasses that we should eat, like when we're talking about barley grass or wheat grass. You take the leaves, you can juice it and drink wheat grass juice or barley grass juice or the powder. You can buy them, Barley Max, for example, or Green Max by Swanson. All of them are fantastic wheat grasses or barley grasses. These are grasses. Then fermented foods are also very good. All right? Now, so the herbs, the spices, the grasses, the fermented food will include things like turmeric, which contains curcuminoids or curcumin, echinacea, golden seal, these are immune boosters, milk thistle that helps in liver health. I've mentioned wheatgrass, barley grass. Sauerkraut is a fermented kind of food. You can use cabbage and you soak it in saline water in glass and allow it to ferment over many days. You can get a lot of probiotics, friendly bacteria from that. So I'm told my time is almost up, so let me just give you my concluding remarks today. And when we come back next time, we pick on other food items that are equally good, not necessarily for cancer alone, but for general health. All right. But my concluding remark today is what Hippocrates said and many others. Hippocrates said, let your food be your medicine and let your medicine be your food. And I, Tony Akinyemi, say, any oncologist, that's cancer doctor, that tells a cancer patient to eat whatever they like is professionally reckless and irresponsible. Quote me, no apologies for saying this. Now, it's an ancient Chinese proverb that says, he that takes medicine and neglects diet wastes the time of his doctor. And Heather Morgan said this, and I love her for this statement. She says, every time you eat and drink, you are either feeding disease or fighting it. What a wonderful and profound statement. Each time you eat and drink, you are either feeding disease or fighting it. So don't eat food to feed your cancer. Eat food to fight your cancer. Ratan Tata, the CEO of Tata Motors, you've seen vehicles, trucks with the brand name Tata. The CEO is Ratan Tata. He said, eat your food as your medicines. Otherwise, you will have to eat your medicines as your food. And then Dr. David Minkoff, a medical doctor, the medical director of Life Works Wellness Center in Clearwater, Florida, says there is no health without a good diet. It's impossible, unquote, by Dr. David Minkoff. Now, an ancient Ayurvedic proverb says, when diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. And when diet is correct, medicine is of no need. Then Francois de La Rochefort actually said, to eat is a necessity, but to eat intelligently is an art. And Dr. Ann Wigmore, who set up a wellness center again in Florida many, many years ago, said the food you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. So your food really matters to your health. So choose your food correctly. Be well advised, be well informed, and if you're healthy, the food you eat, the things you drink, the way you live your life can keep it that way, healthy. And if you're sick, can help you to bounce back, to recover and to have victory and be healed. And I pray for those who are dealing with cancer in particular, that the healing power of God will touch you, that the love of God will envelop you, that the presence of God will overwhelm you, that you will have victory over that cancer. That cancer will die in your body. You will not die. You will live to declare the works of God, to declare the glory of God, to fulfill destiny, to fulfill purpose, and to fulfill your assignment in this life. In Jesus' name, amen. Do have a wonderful week. See you same time, same platform next week. And don't forget to share this with your friends, your colleagues, your family members, and tell them what we need is not more medication, but more education. For the best prescription is knowledge. God bless you. Love you all.
Take a second to think. If you could design your future, what would it look like? If you could design a tomorrow where you are no longer stuck, drained, overlooked, what would that feel like? Your ability to raise the lid of your leadership, to go from chaos to clarity, to bring tomorrow to life, is multiplied when you are equipped. The Global Leadership Summit is where leaders gather to learn more from each other, to build accountability, to be equipped to handle the leadership challenges of tomorrow. It's more than an event. It's a community where greatness is forged. Take a second. Then take a step that equips you to design your tomorrow. Register for the Global Leadership Summit today.